This is episode number 37 of the Leg It podcast with myself, Tom Wickstead.
It's me, Andy Grant, and this week we've got Andy Firth.
Pleasure, fellas.
Thank you for coming, mate. Really appreciate this.
No worries.
Thanks for your time as well.
So Andy now professional footballer for Rangers. That sounds alright, to be honest. My mate, glad I got blown up with Ian, massive Rangers fan, so when I said I got the Rangers keeper coming on, he's like, fuck, how have you managed to fucking get him on? So I appreciate it, mate. Thanks for giving up your time.
No worries. It's a massive club and it's not a bad place to be a part of.
Yeah, fucking tell me about it.
How, just before we start, how do you guys know each other?
Well, yeah, so we were just saying then off air, well, I got to know a guy, well, actually, it was at this event, so I was at it was kind of a military transitional, I think what the military can bring to the community, and Clive Cook was your educational welfare.
Education welfare, yeah.
So this guy, Clive Cook, I became good friends with him. But I was at this event just as part of the Marines, an ex-Marine, and there was loads of different people from the community. I'm just being a massive red eye seeing a load of lads wearing LFC tracksuits.
Right, red trackies.
And just proper started fanboying everyone and was like, fucking hell, I need to go and speak to this guy. And I could tell, like, there was a young... So how old will you been?
15, 16, something like that.
15, 16. And Clive was obviously an older guy. And I went over to Clive and just said, "Hi, mate, I'm Andy." And straight away, he's such a nice guy, Clive, isn't he? Like the nicest guy ever. And I said, "I'll do motivational speaking and this and that." And he just said, "Yeah, mate, give me your card. It'd be great for us to chat again." And I briefly remember, who else? Don't know who else was there, but I remember seeing you there. So that's the first time we met, although briefly. And then it must have been within the weeks and months following that, I was invited in to do a motivational talk for the academy lads. I think it was under 16s, might have been.
16s, yeah.
And I think the reason at the time was Clive was saying that, you know, all these young lads are getting told, you know, or they're all hoping they're going to be the next Steven Gerrard and all this, and then obviously fucking Steven Gerrard's 1 in a million, you know, and then he might not make it at Liverpool, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, what am I going to do? And so what I tried to do, you don't answer this because you could say I was shit, but what I tried to do was kind of make people realise that, you know, life can change that quick. You know, 1 minute I was this big, rough, tough Royal Marine Commando, next minute, you know, I'm getting spoon-fed by my dad, and, you know, life can change that quick. And hopefully kind of took something away from it, but that's how I got to know Andy. Then we just kept in touch then over the years, really, haven't we?
And the stuff that you say, like the transition, like, thankfully I've not gone through it yet, but I do see the similarities between the other pod you've spoken in about the structure and stuff, where you just know exactly what you're doing, and that's the same with me. You got, obviously it's not as long, but my structure every day, every week is nigh on the exact same, and then at some point my career will end, and then it's like, that'll be the change for me, like, wow, what am I going to do now?
It's good though that you're thinking about that already.
Yeah.
So you're young lads. Because for a lot of people, mate, it'll just kind of blinded to it, and then all of a sudden, oh shit, what am I going to do? Yeah,
well, I'm just lucky that I've like landed on my coaching courses, and a lad Tom Brew who's at Morecambe now, me and him were in the same youth team, and we just did it all together, so we just kept firing him off as much as we could, and we've always said he's going to be the manager, I'll be his goalie coach, and it's just it's all planned out in our heads, hopefully, but just something I've loved doing. I did bits at the academy when I was still there, so something I really enjoyed doing, something I could see myself doing long term, and whenever my playing days are over, then hopefully that's something I can fall back on.
How long have you had that like structure for then? Did it like when did that structure come into your life?
As soon as I signed for Liverpool, so I signed at Liverpool when I was 10 in the under 11s.
10 years old, really?
Still living up in Carlisle, so used to do me travelling until I moved down here at 13. I was just travelling down on the train on my own from Carlisle down to Wigan, and then my dad would pick me up and 3 times a week, and then down on a Sunday for a game. So how did you play that with school then? How does it work with school? So we used to train Monday, Wednesday, Friday, something like that. So usually 3 days a week. So I was in year 6 the year I signed. So
mate, you're not. I remember being in year 6, mate.
So yeah, I was still in primary school last year at primary school, and we just obviously had to speak to the head teacher and say this is what's happened. Will you work around it? And I was only in my village primary school in Cumbria. There was like 100 kids in the whole school, so it was just like the fella was boss. To be fair, just dead laid back and said, yeah, it's fine. So used to miss the last lesson on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and Mum would pick me up from school, take me to Carlisle. I'd jump on the train, get the train from Carlisle to Wigan, and then my dad would be in Wigan waiting for me after work and take me from Wigan to Liverpool, do my training, and then 2 hours in the car on the way back.
Jesus.
Back to school.
It's a lot of commitment, not just for you, but for your parents as well, isn't it?
Oh, it's nothing for me. easiest thing in the world. But now you get old, you understand, like, if I drive 2 hours, I'm wrote off. My dad used to drive 2 hours to work, go to work, pick me up, training. And I always remember it, he hates it, but as soon as I finish training, he'd just run to the car and go and get his head down for an hour while I'm getting a shower and all that. And every day I used to walk and just see him in the corner of the car park and slam the window, give him a heart attack. And that's the thing he used to hate. But how he used to drive, that just, he was up to about 1,000 miles a week when he was working and I was doing all the travelling. It was just, and as a kid you just don't
you just take for granted, don't you?
Anything different. But looking back now, it was better than the stuff they've done for me, obviously.
What's that like, mate, when you obviously you're a kid, you just love football mad, I'm guessing, obviously, and then, like you say, you're in year 6 and then suddenly you're getting told Liverpool are after you. Did you know this was coming or something? Did you know?
No, it is the stupidest foot. So for my 10th birthday, do you know the soccer school things you can do at the academy?
Yeah.
So it was Easter bank holiday, got a week off. My dad was working in Liverpool, so that was my birthday present. Got 3 days at the academy training. My dad would go to work, obviously drop me off, pick me up, work in Liverpool in a day, and then, but I was always an outfielder, never a keeper, so I'd never played in goal, turn up, and I remember on the last day they did like a penalty shootout competition. No one wanted to go in goal, and me being the daft arse I was, just said, yeah, go on, I'll go in goal. And I was lads taking pens and made a couple of saves and didn't know, but the goalie coach of the academy was stood behind me watching me, and he phoned me at the end. He was like, oh, make sure you and your dad have a chat with me before you go. And I was like, yes, I don't know who you are, like, but go on. And then pulled my dad, and he was like, seen your Andy in goal there, and he looks like someone we'd like to work with. Do you think he'd be interested? And I was, at the time, I was fuming. I'm not goalkeeper, I'm not fucking playing in goal with a player. Gerard's the idol, so I'm going to be a centre mid, all that. And my dad was like, oh, you've got to give it a go and all that. So I thought, sound going in. And they had a regional coach, a lad called Tony Elliott, was working in Carlisle, and he did like goalkeeping schools up there. She used to do a week, once a week with him, and did that twice. And he said, yeah, he's not bad, this kid. So then I got sent to the northwest region, which was Preston. So he used to do twice a week at Preston for 2 or 3 weeks, and then he just said, yeah, you're all right. So.
And what was this though, down to your attitude or your size? You're a bit, or bit of.
I don't know. I was always quite tall for my age. I don't know. Just I'd never had any coaching. I'd never played in goal. It was just.
You're one of those like really annoying kids who are like great at table tennis, great at basketball.
Yeah,
you're one of them. Yeah.
Yeah. Every sport I've took to, I just seem to be not amazing at, but I just always seem to do. Yeah. Techniques usually absolutely horrendous, but I just find a way to. Find a way to do it and be effective.
That's like such an it's not the way everyone thinks, is it?
It's impossible to happen. Like I don't know how it's happened. The fact that I'm living in a village in Cumbria, the middle of nowhere, and go away for 3 days, and next thing you know, you're signed by your club.
And then what sort of just coming back to structure, what sort of like at that age are they like? Are they trying to teach you? Obviously they're doing things to do with football, but is there anything else that they're trying to do? Or is it just around football? There's nothing around anything else at all? Or
see, it changed when I moved down here to go to school and stuff. That's when it became like the big package. And as you get older, the club are unbelievable about bringing different people in. So obviously Andy comes in and tells his story, but they bring in. That's what's changed, I think, the way that they just open your mind to everything. So the amount of courses they can put you on for free through the PFA, and they obviously have people coming in and tell you how to fix your cat, and just all stupid things like that. Free
fix
cooking lesson. Yeah, the fella from the RAC. One of my mate's dads, actually. My mate Ryan, his dad works for the RAC, and he came in and did a talk for the lads, and it's I
wouldn't mind being an actor. Yeah. So, I don't know how to do it with my cat.
But it's, and things you think, when I look back now and think, as a 15, 16-year-old, when all these fellas are coming, and you're thinking, I just want to go home, don't want to be here. But then as you get older and you appreciate things more and you see what's actually being put on for you, you think, yeah, fair play to them. But as a 16-year-old, if you'd have said, do I want to go and do this cooking lesson, there's 1,001 things I'd rather be doing.
There was cooking lessons as well, everything, yeah. Like basically like just a school.
Yeah, but it was always like it was mandatory. It wasn't optional. You just had to go and do it. And looking back, it was brilliant because obviously I'd moved away from home and stuff. It just helps you grow up a bit, something else you can do to look after yourself.
And did they, at that age, obviously no numbers here, but like, do they pay you at that age, at 10 years old or not? No.
No. When I moved down, you used to get 20 quid a week pocket money.
From the club, yeah?
From the club, yeah. So it was just 20 quid a week pocket money on it every Friday, and that was your...
That's quality though, 20 quid.
Yeah, at that age, 20 quid it's boss, and everything's done for you, so you get your lift from... I think I was the first group where like there was a load of us moved in, so like 9 of us moved into Rainhill. We were the first big group, so it was just one taxi, you'd pick all 9 of us up in a long run in the morning, take us to school, finish school, straight to training at 5 o'clock, you'd be done for 7:30, 8, and then taxi back to your digs. And then looking back now, it's the longest day in the world, but it just used to fly because you're in school and you're training and just with your mates all day. It was unbelievable.
Yeah,
you know, when you're all getting, you know, so you get to that age and you'd have to move down, you're in foster parents then, like, yeah. When you go to that school, or what's it like with the other kids? Because I can imagine it to be a bit like, who the fuck do these think these are? You know, like they're all like a bunch of, I'm not sure what Rainhill's like as a school, but like if you come to a school in Bootle, load of lads and like loads of like, if you like prima donnas turned up, thinking we're getting picked up at 3 o'clock, minibus down to the academy. Yeah, lads would be like, you know, who the fuck does he think it, like? That's what it would be like.
Yeah, it was tough. Like, the thing I think that helped me the most was I don't think I'm big time or anything like that, just down to earth, just being me, and I wanted to make mates outside of football. So of the lads I went to school with that were at the academy with me, I probably only speak to 1 or 2 of them out of the 10 of us that were there, whereas I've got a group of 10, 11 mates from Rainhill that are still my best mates now and I'm still in contact with, and
nothing to do with football.
Yeah, nothing to do with football. That's the reason I'm back down here now, seeing my mates, and just, so that's what helped me. Just obviously I was playing for Liverpool, but I just felt like a normal kid after the first couple of months, and I got to meet people. It was just something I think I did a lot better than the other lads, was making mates that were in the school, like, normally.
Attempting to integrate yourself to everyone.
Just because there was 4 of us my age. There was me, there's Shay Ojo, who's now at Rangers with me, Jerome Sinclair's at Watford, and Jack Alexander stopped playing. And I was never that close with... Shay was the one I was closest with, and luckily ended up at Rangers with him. But the other 2, I got on with them, like, but they weren't my sort of people, and I just thought I had a lot more in common with the normal lads, and I got on with them a lot more, and I'd much rather spend my time with them than the other 40 lads.
It's nice that you realise that though, because I can't imagine people to just turn up thinking, if I can play for Liverpool, do you know what I mean, type thing, and that wouldn't have went down well in most schools around Liverpool, I don't know.
Kev Ellison mentioned that, didn't he? Was it a chap who rocked up at their
when
training?
he was talking about going on loan and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Other clubs and that.
Training.
Just turn up with I guess just with a chip on your shoulder, I guess. Yeah. But, and listen, if I played for Liverpool, I'd like to think I'd be like you, and I'm 99.9% certain I won't be, but fuck me, playing for Liverpool, like,
you've been on MasterChef and you're rocking around like 2 hours now.
Walking around just giving out recipe books. Yeah, mate, as much as I'm saying that, surely, mate, there's a bit of you that obviously you don't put out to the public, but you are thinking, oh, this is amazing. You've got to.
Yeah, there is. But I just think it's finding the balance. Like, I've grown up with lads who are dead down to earth, and I've grown up with lads who are Billy Big Bollocks. And it's usually the ones who are down to earth are usually the ones who turn out to be the most successful, because they're just not phased by it all. Whereas the ones who go big time early, I just think, you think you've cracked it here, and you're in the under 18s or in the resis, you've actually done nothing yet. And I just think it's the ones who act like they've got nothing and just steady car, steady clothes, and not big and flash and all that, and they just turn up to train and do the work. And I've got Kev's, I listened to Kev's one, and I'm part of the new school, so I'm part of the current day of social media and all that, but I still have a lot of time for everything Kev was saying, as in, if I'm at Rangers now, and obviously Shay's turned up from Liverpool, but it's different at the top level, because everyone seems to have the big contracts and things like that, but at Barrow I turned up in my Ford Focus, and everyone else's cars are probably better than mine. I'm just thinking, well, I'm not here about cars or money, I'm just here to play football.
You seem very level-headed for a young lad, like you're 22?
Just turned 23.
23?
Yeah.
Had you always like been like that? Like
yeah,
you bringing up and stuff?
Yeah, I don't think my mum and dad would have it any other way. I've come from they're a well-off family, but my dad especially my dad, he just walks around in Crocs all the time. He doesn't care he'll never buy anything that's of any value. He buys one car and runs it into the ground till it blows up, and then buys another one. He'll never have anything flashing. My mum's the same. That's what I've been brought up with.
It is a good way to be.
Yeah.
I can imagine it's difficult. Like, I'm not saying you just alluded to it a second ago, but I imagine it is difficult. Like, especially super top level of just not getting carried away with sort of. I suppose it's like a bit of not a competition, but I suppose like you can see other people, can't you? And it's like sometimes not that you want to try and keep up with other players, but like it is. I can imagine. I'm not being funny, but I'd get sucked into that. And I can see how people do. Like,
yeah, I do understand it. It's something that's never bothered me. Like I still drive the same Focus I've had for 2 years, and I'll drive it till it blows up like my dad does. Turn up at the training ground every day, and there's Lamborghinis, Ferraris, Rangers, every car under the sun. And I've never been a massive car person, probably because my dad's the same. But it's just never.
Yeah,
I could go and blow an extra 300, 400 quid a month on leasing a nice car, and just think.
Yeah.
I think you'd appreciate things more as well, don't you? Because when that car does, you run it into the ground and you get another one.
Yeah, it's still a new car feeling. It doesn't matter if it's a Lamborghini or it's still your new car. And
I feel like sometimes once you get it, like I spent a bit of money one time on a car, and it was as if I just needed to get it out of my system. Because now I can't care less about cars. Once I've just got it out my system, I know it wasn't a mental car, but once you've got it out your system, I feel like you just suddenly realise like it's. I can imagine like driving a Lamborghini around is so uncomfortable. Yeah, like it's so uncomfortable car. Like you're constantly.
I don't know. If you get me one, I'll drive.
I wouldn't say one down, like
you know. But it's that kind of working hard for it. I always remember I had 2 paper rounds as a kid, and I saved up, and I bought a pair of trainers for like I think about 130 quid. I think most trainers now, at least the one around. But at the time, like, it was a big deal. And because I was on, like, say, 40 quid a week, I had 2 paper rounds, and I think 32 quid a week I was on. So I'd saved up for like a good few months, and when I finally bought them, like, my dad thought I was an idiot, but I was like, wow, like, because it felt, I'd worked hard for it, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't tell you any other time I've bought a pair of trainers and felt the same satisfaction of that. So yeah, there is definitely something to be said about that.
32 quid a week's a lot of money.
Well, 16 quid, but I had 2, so.
It is, yeah. One in the I think we talked about this.
No, the first paper round I got was quite far away, so I had to pick up the papers and drive quite far. But then another round came up that was closer.
Drive or ride?
So, ride. BMX. So I ended up doing both of them. Mate, worked since I was 12.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, mate. So you're going through the academy then. So what age do you move down to Liverpool?
13, 14.
And you just jump into senior school and just going through there?
Yeah, so I did my last 2 years at Rainhill, so I did year 10 and year 11 at Rainhill. So did my first 3 years up in Cumbria, just doing the same, missing 3 hours a week of school and getting the train down, and then moved to Rainhill, and it was getting stupid, and the offer was, we want you to stay, so we just think it's best for everyone that you move down if you're ready for it. And obviously it's looking back now, like I've got my little nephew's like just turned 16, and I think like you couldn't move out now, and I was 3 years younger than him when he just. I
have that same feeling.
Yeah. Looking back now, you think, how did I do it? I'll never know. But at the time, you just think,
yes,
my club's moving me down, putting me in school. I'm just living with my mates. Just it is the dream, and would I go back and do the exact same? 100%.
Yeah, but again, we probably did gloss over it probably a bit there. It is massive, really, innit, to leave your mum and dad at that age and coming down.
Yeah, looking back now, it's ridiculous to think it happened, but like just even getting on the train from Carlisle to Wigan on my own when I was 10, I just acted like nothing was happening, and just because I don't know any different, it's just mad. Like, but if I hadn't, like, my niece and nephew, my 2 nieces now are like 4 and 6, like still young, like, but I think sending my eldest in 4 years' time on the train on her own for 2 hours, I'd be like, I couldn't do that.
Mate, I've got 2 younger sisters who are, I think, like 22 and 24. I can't even imagine them going away for the weekend.
Yeah.
The man moving away from home. Yeah, it is a big deal. Yeah, we did probably gloss over that, like, because it's a big deal for not only you but also your parents as well.
Yeah, that was my dad. I wouldn't know how it affected my dad because my dad's just old school.
Yeah.
Old school. I'd never know, but I think obviously it was a big thing for my mum at the time, but she never let it show with me, and I'd never known any different. It's only now as you get older and you start talking about it, they tell you the stories of how hard it was for them as well. But thankfully it's worked out all right.
Yeah,
the trains were always fun, just because we always used to have it was like a half an hour drive, and we used to have literally like 25 minutes to do it. So if there's ever any traffic, my mum's road rage was unbelievable as a kid. That was my favourite part of the journey. And then there was a couple of times I fell asleep on the train, and once I was meant to get off in Wigan and ended up in Birmingham, so I got off the train like, oh, fuck, this isn't Wigan, what do I do now? And left little PlayStation portables on the train and all that, so my dad always used to have to work his magic and sort something out, but it was interesting.
Yeah, I always think as well, some of the times it's probably similar to what you're talking now. When people want me to tell me stories about the Marines and about Iraq and Afghanistan, some of my best stories are from training.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when you've just turned up, you've not got a clue. Like, we've been on an exercise of like week 1, day 1. We're in this forest and in this woods, and it's like 2 a.m. It's pitch black, and they bump us. They start setting off flares. Everyone's going bang, flashing up, and you have to pack your bivvy tent away and get back onto the road. And they're going, come on, hurry up, and there's bangs going off and everyone's flapping and you don't know what the fuck you're doing because you've only been there a few days and everything. And then you're all standing in 3 ranks to attention, and there's blokes there who've only got like 1 boot on. The training team walk into me, you're there, holding up the boot, and they're like, whose boot's this? And there's like one lad there with 1 boot on, he's like, it's mine, corporal. And like, some of those stories are the best ones, like, to think back on.
Definitely. Like, if you asked me about what my favourite memories are of football, there's only probably 2 or 3 games I'd talk about, and the rest is just banter, changing room, training ground, living in digs, going to it's the games where it becomes serious, where the rest of it's just
it's part of the journey. The rest of
it, lad, you just are young, and I know it's an unbelievably privileged position, but when you're in it, you just feel like you're just a normal kid with normal mates who are the lucky ones doing what you want to do.
That's why I feel such a connection thing through the sportsmen I've got to know, yourself included. That's what I felt like in the Marines. I was like, I'm 70, I'm getting paid to turn up every day, go to the gym twice a day, and with all my mates 24/7. I go turn to work 10 o'clock, I go to a lecture, then I go and have a cup of tea, watch Jeremy Kyle play darts, whoever loses has to get a cup of tea. Like, I was like, this is not work.
It doesn't matter what you're betting, there's always a bet on everything you do.
Yeah, you're rolling the dice and stuff. Like, I was like, this is not work, surely. And then obviously the sports people have got to know it's similar type-ish job, but then, like you say, when you're on a pitch or when you go to war, that's when it gets serious. But when people, you know, you see these crazy petitions and they're like, you know, people in the armed forces should be on more money. I was like, mate, if you knew how much little work gets done when we're in the UK, you would not be petitioning for that. You know what I mean? But yeah.
Which the academy? Is it one in Kirby?
Yeah, in Kirby.
By the David Lloyd there.
Yeah, that's the one.
And that's the one, right?
Yeah.
Because they were thinking of moving it, weren't they? Aren't they?
They are, yeah.
They've moved. So the academy's staying there, and the first team are leaving Melwood, and they're getting their own complex at the same site,
right? They're moving the one from West Derby up to Kirby.
Because I remember playing tennis at David Lloyd and looking over, and like you can't really sit, but you can make up somewhat. Yeah. It does look a bit of an intimidating place.
It's a boss setup. It was that was like the first or one of the first like purpose-built academies. So it's a little bit outdated now, and obviously Chelsea and United have all spent proper dough on theirs. But I think when the first team move in and the money gets spent, that'll be up
when
there
it changes.
With the best.
Yeah.
It's got everything. It's boss. It was. I just.
Yeah. What's it like inside then? So has it got a gym inside?
Yeah, it's got everything. So in
professional
pitch.
Football club. I'm guessing. So
Wait. No, the reason why I say that is because when I used to go to that gym at David Lloyd, some people I used to see come across.
Yeah, that's So the only thing they don't have at the moment is a pool. So whenever you're injured, and they've got the gym's got some specialist equipment that the academy doesn't have. So the club have like a special membership where they can take in, as long as there's a member of staff, they can take the injured lads over there and do their rehab because they've got some stuff that we haven't, and they've got the pool as well. So
because I remember seeing this absolutely blew my mind, right? there was a guy, obviously from the academy. You know, one of those like balls.
The Swiss balls, the big bouncy.
Big bouncy ones. He had that. Then one of those little flat. If you imagine like a flat thing with like a circle.
The Bosus,
Balance,
on top of each other, and he was on top on one foot.
And I'll tell you exactly who it is. It's Dan Atherton as well. Was he blonde?
I can't remember.
Dan Atherton.
Mate, it was insane. I was there.
He's an absolute plant pot. He used to go to school in sixth form in Rainhill, and he can like his balance is unbelievable. He used to balance like a chair on his head with like one leg on his head and balance like on. He should be in the circus. He's not a goalkeeper. He should be in the circus. Top lad, but I guarantee it'll be him.
Mate, it could have been. Wow. It was a while ago though. It was a while ago, but I just remember thinking that is like, you know, I remember everyone going, "What the fuck is like that? Is insane, yeah." On one foot, just like that, just looking at one point, just like that. It was just insane.
Yeah, it'll definitely been Dan. I don't think anyone else could pull that off without killing themselves.
Yeah, mate, that's mental. Yeah, bloody hell.
Mate, one thing Kev did talk about was nowadays, obviously, the pressure that you know when you're in that academy, and I guess you're waiting to see if you get kept on or not.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel that like either the kind of I'm not playing well enough here, I'm not going to make it, or they're going to release me, or did you ever feel like, I feel good enough to be here, or did you just try and enjoy it as much as you could?
I think it's just a bit of everything. I remember my dad sat me down once. I think it was just finishing my under-12 season, and he sat me down, and it's the only time he's ever done it, to be fair, and he was like, "How do you think you've been doing?" And I was like, "Yeah, all right." Just couldn't really be arsed talking to him. Just sound. And he just sat me down and went, "Well, I just think you've been shit. Just you haven't. It looks like you're having a good time, but it doesn't look like you're there to work hard." And I broke down in tears. Like, it was hard to hear that at a young age, but I think looking back now, that was a thing that changed me. Whereas I used to go and have a laugh on the pitch while I was training, and now at that point it was more of the fun stops when you get on the pitch and do your job and do it properly, and then as soon as you're off the pitch, have as much fun as you want. But I think that was a big thing mentally, having that switch from, because I do love being the class clown and the idiot and the centre of attention when there's jokes and pranks to be had, but then it was just getting that balance. As soon as you're on the pitch, you're there to do a job and get better and improve and try and stay there as long as you can. But look, growing up, I was always the only keeper in my age group, so it's kind of impossible to drop the only keeper you've got. So that was the easier part for me, because up until under 16s, I was literally on my own. So I used to get every minute of every game, and it doesn't matter how bad or good I was, I knew I was going to be in next week. And then the first time it got tough was as a first year scholar when I turned 17. That's when the 17th and 18th go together, and there was two keepers a year older than me. So that was the first time I'd really had that competition where I know I'm not the number one, I'm number 3 now. So that was
and then you can up your game because you've got competition.
That was a big step for me. And I used to live with the keeper who was a year older as well, and still boss mates with him now, but it was still, he was the top dog, and I know we're mates and that, but I'm here to take your place. And
how does that work? I'm fascinated with.
I was just about to ask.
With like keepers, because it's such a different job to the rest of the team.
It is different, but I've always said that he's not picking a team, I'm not picking a team. So if you're the manager, me and Tom are the two keepers, you've got to pick someone. I've got nothing against Tom. He wants to play every minute of every game, and so do I. And I've never had a bad relationship with any keeper I've worked with, whether they've been better or worse or playing or not playing. I've always just, at the end of the day, it's not in my control so much, and it's not in your control so much. It's the gaffer who's picking a team.
Totally,
But there are keepers who'll throw the toys out the pram if they're not playing and stuff like that. But
really?
At the end of the day, it's just...
Yeah, because there's been some famous kind of relationships that have worked really well on the pitch. There was Romario and the Brazilian strikers, Romario and someone else, who fucking hated each other, but they were amazing on the field. And I always think that feeling of like, one of you makes the team, you get told the team, and you're sharing a room together. Yeah. And it's like, you congratulate them, but you fucking gutted yourself, and then or if it's you're buzzing, but you don't want to be too happy because your mate's not, and it's like...
That's always been the same. So whenever you travel with like the under 18s and the resident, that the rooms is, you can put your house and kids on the two keepers are in the same room and one's playing and one's not. But I've always just, I've been there that long and seen good people get dropped and bad people playing, and you think, how's that? But it's just managers making calls or directors or whoever it is making decisions, and at the end of the day, someone's going to have to be pissed off and disappointed. And
yeah, totally.
that's the way I've always just looked at it.
Who has like, obviously the managers have a say? Do the like board and directors have any say at all, or do they just go, look, you're the manager, you deal with it, and you? Or
I'm not sure. I've never been at that level. I suppose it'll depend how high you go. I think at kids levels, everyone gets game time split, and it's all fairly balanced. You'll have the one or two that, in their eyes, are the ones who are going to make it and maybe push them a bit further, or they'll get a bit more playing time. But I don't know, I just think, I wouldn't say the board and directors start getting involved at youth team level, but I'm sure they'll have to get involved at some point, because if you brought kids in from abroad or brought them in from down south and paid a few quid for them, then they want to try and get the money's worth out what they bought.
Even at that early age, going through the academy, is there any players, even as a keeper, you look outfield and you think he is an absolute worldie, like he is unbelievable?
See, I've been lucky. I'd argue to the hills that my youth team at Liverpool is one of the best that I couldn't think of. Looking, I know people who listen to this or watch this probably wouldn't think it sounds amazing, but I think like there's 11 or 12 people from my youth team that have gone on and are still playing in a career, and to get, usually if you get to 23 you should be okay for a career, for touch wood, as long as there's no stupid injuries or anything stupid happens. But see, Harry Wilson was in the youth team, he's at Bournemouth, Raz is up at Rangers now, Shea's at Rangers, Sam Hart, Adam Phillips, Cam Brannigan, like the list is a proper list of people who are doing really well for themselves, and just growing up as one of the lads in, you don't know any different at that age, but it's good to look back and see how far and how spread everyone is out, and it's a strange world.
I done a talk for the England, I think I mentioned this on Kev's podcast, but I done a talk for England under 21s or 18s it was, and I thought, you know, if you're playing for England at that age, surely, and they were like, nah, no chance, it's not guaranteed until, like you say, maybe 23 or something.
Yeah, I think you see it a lot at kids level. So Jerome Sinclair was in my youth team, he's at Watford now, and at 16 he was the one in the team that you thought, oh my god, and he made his debut for Liverpool at 16. You're thinking, Jesus Christ, this could be some player. But I just think at 16 he was a man. He was playing in the 18s, taking a piss out of it, just bullying everyone, too quick, too strong. And I don't know if it just because when he kept stepping up levels that people were good defenders were used to dealing with that, so maybe that's where it caught up with him a bit. But I don't know, it's a strange one. It's a strange business because it's all opinions and there's no fact in it. One manager's opinion is completely different to the next man's.
Yeah, I think that's where you need the striker look as well, don't you? That you have a manager who gives you the run at games, or he's got this faith or belief into you, and then hopefully, you know, you can make it pay off.
Correct. I still to this day believe it's not what you know, it's who you know. Yeah. And your talent will get you so far, but you still need the right people in the right places to give you your chance or your breakthrough or something that will change you like that.
I remember on that Peter Crouch podcast that they did a really good, I think they did a really good episode about goalkeepers. I don't know if you listened to it. It resonated a bit.
It's funny, isn't it?
But then I remember him talking about like people used to like I don't know if sucker up's the right word, but sucker up to certain managers and that sort of thing. And obviously it happens, doesn't it? Cause but then obviously other people can spot it a mile off, can't you know? And it's like, are you doing it for the right reasons or
the wrong reasons? It's this. I always try and look at it as just a normal job, and I know it's far from it. But if there's three of us doing the exact same job, and there's one place up for promotion, and the next man up's picking it, then
of course you would.
Maybe start trying to be friends and influence his decision. And it's just the exact same. If there's three keepers here and the manager's there, you can only pick one here to play. So there might be different ways of
catching his eye. Inviting him round for roast dinner on.
I remember that Man City documentary was quality. That Amazon Prime did.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, it was really good. That cracking documentary. I think they did one, and they did New Zealand All Blacks, didn't they?
The All Blacks. I've not watched that one. There's a couple of NFL teams who've done it.
There is.
They've done a few. Yeah.
Sunderland. They did
It was a bit. Sunderland was Netflix.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was a
It was a
Netflix.
bit different. That wasn't as well done, I don't think. But the Man City one was brilliant.
Unbelievable. Just seeing all the stuff behind the scenes and
Yeah.
Well, I think I've talked about it, but the way that, like, as a manager, because you know, you've got such like diverse characters in that team that you know, not that they'd tell you to piss off, but you know, there's such character to be able to think, right, do I if they had a bad game, to think, if I nail into them, is it going to motivate them or not? You know, and the way Pep did it, it was just cracking, just really, really good, cracking manager, unbelievable.
You've already had, obviously, come on to like your career, but the managers you've had, obviously the man management side of things, obviously something that is, I'd say, probably the most important, because I think when it comes to talent, when you get to a certain level, surely there's not that much difference. Yeah. It's the man management, I'm guessing.
That's what I liked about Kev's, like the way Kev was saying that there's some managers will go out the way to make sure the star men feel so loved and they're the be all and end all and we love you and all that, but then there's more of the non-star men than there is the star men, and it's a team game, so you've got to keep as many people in the squad as you can happy, and obviously you are going to piss a few people off along the way as a manager, but I just think it's finding that balance of when's the right time to cane and when's the right time to say, oh, do you know what, just wasn't our day, we go again, or things like that. It's just I think that's obviously where the best managers make the money. It's tactically there's bits here and there, but I just think if you've got a lot of people who are willing to die for your cause, then sometimes tactics go out the window and it's just about who's got the biggest set of bollocks on the day.
Yeah. I was speaking to my running coach Tony about this today in the gym, and we were talking about Klopp, and obviously Liverpool flying at the minute. His man management skills are just unreal,
ridiculous. Yeah.
You know, and it's he's done it with 3 clubs, like, do you know what I mean? The way he's done it with Dortmund, he's come in with Liverpool and Man City. I think he's got a net spend. He come into a team that was 6th in the league. He spent 70 or 80 million net spend, and he's got them where they are now, compared to a team that were already champions, already had a multi-million pound squad, and have had an extra 400 million spent on them. Now, he should be nowhere near them on that case, but his man management's how he's getting the best out of everyone. And not just the people on the pitch, but the staff as well. Like the togetherness that it seems to be from the outside. I just think that it is that man management, and I think that's what I use a quote in my talks, and I always say it was Colin Powell, who was an American leader he was an American Marine, and then went on to the political sphere. Very well respected, and he was once asked what makes a great leader, and Colin Powell said a great leader is someone who you will follow if only out of curiosity. And I think when you've got that boss or that manager, and my running coach Tony was like that for me. You know, I met him on Everton Hill, and I said I want to become the fastest amputee over 10k. And he just spoke to me within 5 minutes. I thought, yeah, I believe in you. Yeah. I don't know how, but
something about him.
Yeah, something about you. And I don't know what your training regimes are going to be. And that's when I said to you, his training regimes aren't going to be completely different to every other running coach in the world. But something about him, I thought, fucking hell.
You just buy into it.
Yeah.
I get it. Like when I was there so Klopp got the job, and when Rodgers got sacked, Klopp had taken over, but it was an international break, so like this week, so Klopp had...
Well, it was this week, wasn't it?
So he had 2 weeks. He had 2 weeks after Rodgers got sacked before his first game in charge, and obviously there was a few on internationals and stuff. I just remember going to a train at Melwood that week and like just obviously seeing bits of him at Dortmund and stuff, but didn't really know huge amounts about him. Obviously knew he was a bit of a character, but sometimes you don't know if it's a big show or whether he's actually just a lunatic. But we did a shooting thing and Coutinho taking a touch, Whitman in the top bins, and he'd literally ran from the touchline, ran onto the middle of the pitch and picked Coutinho up, and I was like, fucking hell, this could be quite fun, this. And he was
Why did he that? Just celebrate with him?
Wild, just so. And I don't know if it was to make a point that is him, that's the way he is, and like you see some of his celebrations for goals and you think,
have you had a hug off him?
I've never had a Klopp hug. No, I've never had a big Klopp hug, but it's just like you just can't not love the fella. Just unbelievable. Just he had so much time for the kids coming up. He'd never make a big deal. He'd just always make sure you're fitting in and stuff like that. And he was bossing me. I had loads of time in the world for him.
You put something really good on Twitter that someone had wrote in. I think it was a United fan.
Yeah, that bit of, I mean, that got about 4,000 bloody likes or something. Did it? Viral. I did tell you, it's not my bloody bit of journalism, like. But yeah, it's just a funny,
What was it? Can you remember?
just saying stuff like, you know, he made a bit about the dog, and he said something like he stopped and watched an all girls.
Do you want me to get it up here?
Yeah, it goes on for a bit, like, but it was just points about how you can't not but love him. It said like he stopped and watched the girls.
Yeah, watched
football.
the girls' game of footy or something when he was walking.
His dog, and he was like, "Bet that dog's got the best life in the world." He's like, "Now I'm even jealous of his fucking dog." You know what I mean? And yeah, just I think, and it's one of those. It doesn't always happen in life, but it's nice when he's obviously a nice, genuine guy, and it's nice to see nice people do well. And it doesn't always happen, does it? But when you do see it happen, you know, even when rival supporters are saying, "Fucking," but I like him, so yeah.
One thing, going back to the training. So, what does, for a keeper then, what does like a normal day look like? I love these normal day sort of like questions. But what does a normal day training look like then for a keeper?
It's not hugely different from the lads, but like Crouches has on his podcast, when the keepers go out to training, we're always in our corner in the goalie area, and every club I've been to, it's the exact same. Goalkeepers have their little corner, and that's it. We usually go out 10, 15, 20 minutes before the lads and do our own stuff while they do their warm-ups, and then just depends what the gaffer needs us for that day, whether he needs one keeper for a bit of shape or shooting, or so it changes every day, but it's roughly, there's not a lot.
So do you go to the gym so you rock up? Yeah. I suppose it depends what club you're at, but
Tom wants a minute by minute
breakdown. So no, it's a world you don't usually get a look at insight into. So you rock up. Do you have breakfast before you leave the house, or do you have it at the club? Or
we get fed there. Well, it depends where you are. So when I went along to Chester when I was at Liverpool, and then did 6 months at Barrow. So that was the complete opposite end of the spectrum, where Kev's on about. Barrow, we had one training kit each, and you take it home every day, wash it. I had no food provided there, so it was own breakfast, own dinner, something I'd never done before, which was a bit of a culture shock to now at Rangers, where you just turn up, you have your breakfast there, all your kit's laid out, do your training, do whatever. Kit goes in the laundry, go up for your dinner. You can take away food that night for the lads that live away like me, and a few of the younger boys who are on their own and don't want to cook. You can take away food from there.
That's perfect, isn't it?
Master Chef, mate, I'll send you some recipes.
That's perfect though, isn't it? You know, like after work.
Yeah.
Like, literally, it is after work. Just take it home.
Well, that's what. When I first moved up there, I was like, first time I've lived on my own, I thought, yeah, I'm gonna like this cooking. Did chicken fajitas about 15 days in a row. So fuck this, I'm taking food home now. Yeah. So it's just, I can cook for myself, but I can't do anything half as good as what the chefs do.
100%, mate. I'd be the same.
Me and Albert eat tuna pasta about 3 times a
week. Brilliant, because I'm always on the Xbox with the lads like Harry Wilson and Tom Brew and that, and Brew's always on a Friday. He has spaghetti bolognese and he makes it himself because he's paranoid and he's got his superstitions and all that. She's like, alright, give me like an hour and a half to cook it and all that. And then literally I just walk to the fridge, take my takeaway box out, microwave 1 minute, job done. And I'm sat there for an hour waiting for him to cook his tea.
So you rock up. So you have breakfast or whatever. Do you then go to the gym to warm up, or do you warm out on the pitch? Or
see, we're different. So we do our own stuff in the gym. So say we're usually in for 9:30, train at 11. So you got an hour and a half to get your breakfast, get rubs if you need rubs, get your ankle strappings and all that, and then usually the lads go in the gym at 20 to 11. The outfielders, and they'll do what's called prehab, so like core, ankle stability, knee stability, bike, just anything that is on that day.
Yeah.
Whereas we just usually go out at 22 and go on the pitch. So anything we want to do in the gym, we'd have to go in before, which is not much difference for me, but it's just that's the only real difference. And then we'll split up until the gaffer needs a goalkeeper to kick balls at.
Right. It's just as simple as that.
Simple as that.
Right. And then because I've seen videos or whatever from Liverpool or whatever, and Alison Becker and doing. So you've got a goalkeeper trainer.
Goalkeeper coach, yeah.
Coach trainer.
I feel like you sound like you're an American and you've never
no
experienced the football.
No, it's just like it's interesting. So
there's soccer that you play, and there's a guy who helps. No,
and then so he's just is he just like, are they doing what are they doing?
They're the coach, they choose.
Right.
So at the moment for us, it's dead easy for the coaches because we're in the Europa League. We'll play. So we had a 5-week block from the last international break of 5 games on a weekend and 4 midweek games. It was just play on a Sunday, play Thursday, play Sunday, play Thursday. So when it's like that, there's actually not a lot of time to train because things like travelling and most of the lads will be on recovery from the game. So it's just little bits just ticking over more than what you'd think. Like most sessions are only like an hour and 15 because it's that busy and there's that much travelling and stuff. There's actually not too much time to train. Right. Which is what, like Klopp's mentioned it quite a few times where...
Yeah, I've seen him says that. He says like there's no time to...
You can't actually coach because if you want to do something as a team, it's very rarely that you'll have a full week to prepare for a game because you'll have a Champions League game or a Cup game, Europa League, whatever you're in, because the schedules are that busy. It must be a pain in the arse for... And then the only chance he gets international breaks, and especially at Liverpool level, they're all on international break and there's not many left. So,
and also, mate, you must be fucked as well. Like,
yeah. Well, you do get fucked. For me, it's more mental than actually physical because just the travelling and things like that. That like I hate staying in hotels. Just
I hate it.
You say to people like, "Oh, we're down in we went to Young Boys in the week. We went away to Switzerland so we flew out Wednesday morning, stayed there Wednesday night, all day in the hotel Thursday, play the game Thursday night, stay over Thursday night, little gym session in the morning, Friday, then fly home. So you've got like, but when you're in a hotel, like people think, oh, you're in a nice city, going, but like you're just under house arrest. You just
you're not allowed to go out, are you? Know
you can. They'll give you a certain time. You might be able to go out for an hour and find a coffee and that, but obviously,
what do you do then?
Uno, Xbox, cards.
So you just take your Xbox with you then?
Yeah. Usually, yeah. Xbox or like there's a little Uno school going at the moment, so just anything to keep us busy and because we're just like even the older lads, JD and Alan McGregor, the two oldest, but they're 37, so like they're not old men, but in our terms they are old men, but we're all just young.
Yeah, like mine.
Just need something to.
That's what Afghan was like, though. You know, in some ways, I think Afghan was probably. I know you're saying that was really boring, but for me in Afghan, it was probably the simplest time of my life because you'd go out, you'd wake up at like 3:30, 4 in the morning. As dramatic as it sounds, you'd go out for a scrap, you'd go on patrol, find a Taliban, have a fight with them. You'd be hopefully back by say 11 or midday. You'd come back, clean your weapon, might go to the gym, have a shower, have some food, and then for the rest of the day, you just play cards, watch DVDs, just fucking chill out. And what was great about it is you never had no social media, you never had no bills to pay, no rent to pay, no text. You'd have to fucking go back and keep in touch with anyone. It's probably the simplest time of my life. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Just having that. And
then didn't you come back at midday because it was too hot and they would both
just
parties
the
knew
patrols would kind of just you go out as long because we were patrolling since like 5 in the morning. You'd hopefully have the job done. I mean, sometimes it go on longer and sometimes it'd be shorter, but yeah, just in a way, it's weird, isn't it? When you're almost under the house arrest, and it's like you have to play those games of cards and all that, and
just anything.
Obviously, that's where the banter then obviously comes. Yeah, we had a game called Shithead. It was a game of cards, and if you lost 3 times in a row, you'd have to go around and shake everyone's hand and say, "All right, I'm Andy, I'm a shithead." To everyone, though. So you spend 10 minutes shaking hands with fucking everyone in the whole complex.
That's all it is. It's just finding something to pass your time. As kids, it was always just pranks and just taking a piss out of people. But as you get older and into first team environments, it's a lot more chilled.
A bit more professional.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say professional is the right word. I'd say it's a bit more mature. Not as childish anymore. But
I'm surprised at those, like, you know, the especially that time when you're in the hotel, how for me, if I was there, because my mind wanders when I'm not doing anything, and I hate not being busy. Like, I would check things on social, and I know it's probably not, you know, when you play for teams like you do, and you know, it's probably not good checking or reading comments, or certainly not reading forums or anything like that, because it can really mess with your head. But I can imagine doing that and just, you know, checking social media and just seeing what people are saying, all that sort of thing. Did they tell you not to do that? Like, don't check any forums.
I think it just depends on yourself. Like, I don't mind it. some of the comments I get, I love it, mate. You get middle-aged men like sending you all shit, and you're like, why are you asked about me? I'm not playing, I'm not doing anyone any harm. I'm just doing my job. Just because my job says I play for Rangers, that's the only reason you're chirping up. And it's just like, just grow up, will you?
Yeah.
If I got to 50 and I was tweeting a 22-year-old, 23-year-old like, oh, bits, just like, just grow up, will you? What are you doing? But that's the thing I hate about social media. Just like people who just don't have a life, and that's everything they've got. Like, I do love social media, like, and I use it frequently, but it's just.
Wait, I had one the other day. We spoke about it on the podcast after I was on MasterChef. Again, I'm not a celeb, certainly not a chef, and someone tweeted saying, but he didn't at me, but he put, I was Andy Grant a celeb, I was at his world record, he's not a celeb. And yeah, he's right in what he said, like, I'm not a celeb, but why?
Why do you need to say that? Why do you need to go on Twitter and put that out there? He's not a celeb. Just shut up.
I was thinking, what if I'm not just, so fucking, nah, I'm on with you on that.
Bizarre.
One.
And the club don't say anything like, because I remember Kev saying that they've got like a PR thing, so like, he didn't have to get permission to do this. You don't have to get permission to do things like this. No, they're happy as long as you should be obviously what you say and stuff like that. Yeah. But like social media, they're not bothered. They don't.
Well, like it made me laugh what Kev said about the fines. Like we've got a fines thing in place, so anything that brings the club into disrepute or a player into disrepute, then they are
fines.
They are able to fine us whatever they deem suitable. But it's just they trust you enough.
It's straightforward, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's like
it's the pranks with the lads. I think we had it's not actually, this isn't actually my story. I wasn't there, but it's one of my favourite stories about the lads just being bored. And it's a bit like you're saying there, when you're stuck in a hotel, the lads were on ship once. I think it was a story from 40 Commando, and all the lads were on ship, and one of them had said that they wouldn't have a pudding. I think it was, he said after your dessert you can't have a pudding like for the whole 6 months, and they had a bet that this one of them wouldn't have a pudding for the whole thing. Anyway, we're like a week to go, and I think the forfeit was like shave your eyebrows off or something. It was something like that you do not want to be doing. And again, boredom just got to a point when it was just like they're trying to just see each other off and just fucking make each other's lives hard. One of the lads ate a fucking steak and kidney pudding, and they were like, mate, you've just had a pudding. And he'd not ate like a dessert for the whole like trip, thinking I can't have a pudding, like, and they had him on it, like, you fucking had a pudding, you can't be doing that. And he's like, I fucking not had a dessert for 6 months because I like that. And it's just, they're just trying to fucking get you see each other off all the time.
It's just mind games. And like it's interesting hearing people talk about like the bullying and stuff in change rooms, because like I've never, as long as I've been in the game, I've never actually seen someone get bullied. But when you're in there, it's just the banter and but then if you look back, sometimes did people go too far? Probably, but I've never seen anyone take it ridiculous. But it's one of them, the way the world's going now. Like, that's what I appreciated when I went into coaching, like how much it's changed. Like, because when John Axberg came in, he used to do the kids. He's now the first team goalie coach at Liverpool. So I had him from when I was 13 up to 18, and he's Dutch, so his English wasn't amazing, and just every other word was a swear word. And as a kid, I just used to love it. But like, now the world's changed. If that was happening now, and that's only 10 years ago, but if I was stood there effing and blind in every other word now, I'd probably have been sacked as a coach and things like that. But I don't know. I do think the world's just in that craze at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah. So you did coaching qualification. When did you do
that? So as part of your scholarship, you have to do your FA level 1, which is your first grassroots football. So I did that at 17. Then at 18, a few of us did our level 2, which is the next step up. And then when I was 19, I did my UEFA B licence as an outfield coach. So there's two. This is the football qualification, then there's a goalkeeping qualification. So did all my level 1 and level 2, did my outfield and goalkeeping together. Then for UEFA B, it was like a 2-week course in Blackburn. So me and Tom Brewitt did that together when I was 19. And then I did my goalkeeping B licence the the first 3 days was the weekend of the Kiev final, so I got sent down to St George's Park Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and obviously it's a goalkeeping thing everyone knows at Liverpool. So I did the first day on the Saturday, drove back up to Liverpool to watch the game up here with the lads, and then went back the next morning. Obviously, Carrius had the interesting final he had, and it was just as if losing the final was bad enough. I then got my head chewed off about Carrius all day, just like, oh my God, I can't think of anything worse. But yeah, so rattled them all off as much as I can. So got my B licenses, and then there's UEFA A to do outfield goalkeeping, and then the highest you can go is UEFA Pro. So I'm not too far away.
So like 2 away from that.
Yeah, so just want to get them all rattled off, just so whenever the plane does come to an end, then I know I'm ready to step into a job.
Mate, and going on your career as well, mate, being a Liverpool fan, like you say, travelling back home midweek over weekend to see them when you're working. What was it like when Gerrard come through to end up coaching the academy?
See, it was just, if you can't, I'm just a normal fan, so
that's what I mean. Like, how the fuck did you keep your shit together?
The first time I met him, we went up to. I had to go up to Mel for training. It was before Rodgers' first game in charge, and he got whacked on the Saturday by West Brom 3-0. And that was my first time I trained there in the midweek. And that stupid programme they did.
Oh, yeah.
This is Liverpool. The one they did over in America.
It's horrendous, yeah, where Sterling gets a bollock.
Yeah, that one. And so I was on that, and that was like the first time I'd been there. So I met Gerrard, Suarez, trained with them all, and it was just like... And the only person I knew was Raheem, so I used to live in digs with him. So... Raheem helped me out and was like showing me the ropes and all that, and to be fair, Gerrard came straight over, and literally breakfast was me, Gerrard and Raheem, and he was just like the perfect everything I needed there, just to like kind of
what you'd expect your captain to do.
Just unbelievable for me, and it was still surreal to this day, like just
I remember my Gerrard story. It was New Year's Eve, it was, because everyone was posting on social media Happy New Year. I was in the gym, and because Jordan's the goalkeeper, the fitness coach,
Jordan Milson,
yeah. So I know Jordan. So, I know most of the coaching staff, because they're all obviously good mates, aren't they? And so I'd see them all and let on to them, but I'd never seen Gerrard in the gym. And I'm sitting there, and Stevie was in there once, and I was just like, because I knew all his mates, I was just like, all right, lads, and then just kind of give it the let on to Stevie. Do you know what I mean? And then we were like training next to each other or something, and he was like on the mat there, and I'm thinking, fucking hell, that's Steven Gerrard. Like, I'm in the gym next to him, and we have a shower and all that, and then I'm walking out, and it was actually, even though I did drive, it was easy for me to get the train home, and he was driving his car, his mate was driving him, and he just put the window down and went, yeah lad, do you want to lift home? I was like, oh my God, Steven Gerrard just offering me a lift home. And I was thinking, it is actually easy to get the train, but I was like, yeah, go ahead then. I was thinking, how often are you going to...
Never.
Yeah, so I was like, boom, just jumped in his car, and Gerrard gave me a lift home, and just having like small talk with him about like what he's doing over Christmas and what he's doing over New Year. And then he fucking just dropped me off at my house. I was like, Steven Gerrard just dropped me off at my house. And then everyone was like, Happy New Year, everyone. I was like, fuck the New Year. Steven Gerrard just dropped me off at my house. So like, for me, mate, as a fan, I mean, mate, you've got to stop. That's probably like the ultimate professionalism, mate, to stay cool when he's comes into your life in a professional sense.
It was hard. Like, obviously, when I was still playing and stuff, I got to know him, to say hello to and that, but never spoke to him outside of footy. It was, if I seen him, he'd say hello and that. And then it changed when he came back to the academy after he'd been in LA, came back and was doing coaching and stuff. So at the time I wasn't playing for the Resis, there was another lad playing and stuff. So Resi games were always on a Monday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, when the lads who play were on recovery, it was either just do a gym session on my own or go and train with the 18s. And obviously Stevie G is a manager, so I thought, if there's anything else I'm going to do, I may as well go and do it in front of him. So just used to go and train. That was my favourite day of the week, going and training with the kids who were younger than me, just because I was training in front of Stevie again. So that was always my favourite day.
Although we'll come on to it, do you think that relationship then that you had obviously helped you where you are now, do you reckon?
I couldn't tell you. He'll answer that better than I can, but I do think it must have played a part. Something I'd always say about myself is I don't care. If if I'm not picked, then I'm still going to turn up the next day with a smile on my face and do my job. And it's even easier when your hero stood 5 yards away from you watching, because I never thought of it that he was going to get the Rangers job and end up taking me there, but it was just, I just want him to have a good impression of me as a person, as a keeper, of anything I can do to impress you, and for you to go, you might be shitting goal with the top lad or just anything like that. I just thought, well, I might as well give it me all and see what happens.
I'll tell you what, it's a good attitude to have, mate. It's nice already, mate, that people have got such a view on footballers, mate, and I think anyone who's listened to this already will just be like, nah, that's not like...
Well, they're probably right about some, like, but I hope I'm not one of the
Certainly not
stereotypes.
you, mate, no, anyway. Certainly not you.
Go on. No, you go.
What are you going to say?
I was just going to say, while we're on Rangers, how did that all happen then? How did it all come about?
We'll ask that. What
Right,
I want to go back to is your career, mate. So when the time does come at Liverpool, and then you're kind of thinking about maybe loan moves or getting released or what, how did all that one come about and make you feel, thinking not only, you know, you hopefully saw yourself, you know, in a career at Liverpool, but also the fact that you support them, you've got that affiliation to them anyway.
Well, I'm the most cynical person about myself. So at 17, 18, I know I'm not going to be Liverpool's number one, because point proven, the week I left, he went and signed Alisson for 65 million quid. So I'm not a 65 million quid keeper. I'm not in the same ballpark as him, so I'm not there to compete. But I went on loan to Witton Albion when I was 19, and they're in the 8th tier of English football. Not that many people would have heard of them, but went there for 4 months, and first experience of men's footy, and I just loved it. Just proper old school. I'd never used to train with them, just used to turn up for the games. And we were struggling at the time, and it was one of my old academy coaches who got the job, Carl McCauley, so he took me there.
So you'd still train with Liverpool and
still
just
train with Liverpool, and just, if it was a Tuesday game, miss train on a Tuesday morning and play instead, and same for Saturdays. So yeah, that's how the first one came about. Went there and did okay, and thought, well, freed myself at not the greatest level of men's football, but I was just happy to say I play men's footy, done a bit here, and see what happens. And then so I played on the Saturday, played my last game, loved it. Went back into Liverpool on the Sunday and got pulled into the office and said, yeah, you're not needed anymore, so you can start looking for a new club if you want. And this was in January, so I thought, right, okay, so that was it.
What, as in like we're going to be releasing you in the summer? Or
yeah, at 19, so my contract was up in the summer. So it was just go and find yourself a new club. So went on a couple of trials, went to Hartlepool, went to Burnley and played against Liverpool, went to Hull, Huddersfield, and got an offer from Huddersfield, so that was me thinking, got a 2-year deal at Huddersfield, sound happy day. So stayed at Liverpool all the way through, and would half agreed a deal, but nothing had come through in paper, and it was like just dragging on, and my goalie coach was just like, what's happening here? Like, he knew my agent as well, so he was asking, and I was like, oh, it's fine, it'll be sorted. And he was like, just make sure. And then in the end it turned out they'd signed another keeper, so I was like, middle of May, contract up end of June, no job, no club, like, Liverpool don't want me, Huddersfield have bombed me, like, fuck, what's going on here? So literally didn't have a clue, and it was the year we got to the UEFA Cup final when we beat Sevilla. So we were in, which helped, we were in late because we had to stay with the lads until the final had been, and then we could finish for the summer. And then just got a text off the goalie coach saying, fella, and he was like, give us a bell, we'll have a quick chat. Right, so whatever. So I gave him a bell, and he was like, it's not ideal, but we're thinking we can help you out here. And I was like, talk to me, I've got fuck all else going on, so whatever you can do. And he was like, right, well, we'll sign you as a training keeper, so you can train, you can be on the bench and that for the resis, but you won't be guaranteed any game time at all. So literally, if there's anyone else that's fit, they'll play and you'll be on the bench. And I was like, you know, it's a job, keeps me in the game, keeps me at Liverpool, no other option. So yeah, so that's what it signed as. So signed a year deal as a training keeper, started doing my coaching badges and started doing bits of coaching at the academy, and then got to next year, and it was like January or February. John rang me, the first team goalie coach. Like, what are you ringing for? Just answered the phone and got chatting. He was like, right, we're going to offer you a deal, double your money. Loved how you've done it. just top fella, and I was expecting the same phone call, right? Start looking for a new club, and then got the phone call from John, and then that was it. So that was another year, and I knew I was a training keeper, but it just, if I was going to go and leave and play, I'd have had to go part-time, and I just thought it wasn't, I just didn't think that, I know there are players who have done it, but I think if you drop out of full-time footy and go down to part-time, to then go back from part-time to full-time's not far off impossible. So yeah,
you're in a position as well, aren't you, where it's not as if, you know, you're a right back, but then you could fill in for centre half or right mid. It's like there's one man in your position.
So, but in them 2 years, I reckon I probably played. Sorry, in the 3 years, I did three 1 years, and I reckon I probably played 7 or 8 games, which is not a lot of game time at all. But they kept me in the game. They did loads for me off the pitch, coaching badges. Then I can't say a bad word about any of the staff. They knew what position I was in, and they didn't belittle me in any way. They always made me, I was just part of the lads, and just it's half similar to what I am. I know I'm the third choice keeper at Rangers now, so I'm 2 injuries away from playing, but it's a similar, no, I'm not guaranteed any game time, but I just think it comes down to being a good people's person again, and
your attitude shining through.
Yeah, not being a bad egg, just, you know, you're not there to play, but there's different ways you can help the lads.
And were all the same people there then, were they? And I recognised a lot of faces.
Yeah.
What was that like then, going back and knowing that you're in the setup, but you're not really?
See, it didn't. It used to wind me up that I wasn't playing, but just it didn't affect me at all. I still loved being there. Most of my mates were still there. All the lads I'd grown up with. You see, few people moving on every year, and the group got a little bit smaller and a little bit smaller. But just I was still at my team, and
your boyhood club.
I was happy enough playing 2 or 3 games a season, and still getting to travel all around the world and doing what I love doing. So it was if I went back and if I could do the same, I'd do the exact same, because it's worked out all right in the end.
So then where did the next move then come from then?
So when I was 21...
Because it all seemed to happen quite quick, really, didn't it?
Yeah, so for like the 2 years as a training keeper, I was out for like 4 months, so I broke my foot. So that season was a blur. And then the next season got up to Christmas, and there's a couple of clubs in like the conference, and the team over in Ireland had been calling, because the team I'd been playing, and just said, "Oh, do you want to come on loan?" And so I didn't really think anything of it, because it was agreed that I wasn't allowed to go on loan because they needed me for training. So I didn't even bother asking the question. And then the goalie coach rang me and said, "Oh, I've had an offer from Ireland here," and it was Sligo Rovers. We'd played them in a friendly. Did all right, and the manager kept my name, and a couple of scouts had been over, so Craig Rodden and Adam Morgan, who were both a couple of years older, but I knew they'd put a good word in and got the offer. So I was like, it's better than nothing. It's men's footy, see what happens. So I was meant to fly out there on the Monday, and this was the Friday, and then agent got a call from Chester, 'cause my agent used to be Michael Owens, so obviously he's well connected at Chester through his dad and himself. So the call came from Chester, so I was like, I may as well try Chester for Friday. And he said, "Oh, come into training Friday," and then got a game Saturday, so see how it goes. So I went in on Friday, and then the gaffer just pulled me in, and Marcus Bignett, he's played for QPR, pulled me into his office before training and just said, "You're signing, I'm having you. I've not seen you do anything yet, but I'm having you." So I was like, sounds all right to me.
How do you think you're going to start a new chapter in Ireland? And
literally. So that's what I loved about the resilience thing you were saying, where you just don't plan anything, because I'm the exact same. Hate it. Because if you said to me a year ago, I'm playing for Barrow, in a year's time you'll be Rangers
in the Europa League with Rangers.
League, Stevie G's your manager again, just like, no, it's not.
Mad,
sure,
that, isn't it?
Shit, but that's why I'm the same with stuff like that.
So you're playing for Chester then?
Yeah.
How did that go?
4 months at Chester, and we were the worst team in the conference. That was the year the club had been hit by all the financial trouble and stuff. So when I was there was like 4 members of staff had to leave because they weren't getting paid. Had to ship out anyone who was on anything resembling half decent money, and just used to have to get, most of the squad was just people coming on loan or literally playing for free, just on expenses and stuff like that. So it was tough for me to go into, but kept me busy. in a bad team and had plenty to do and did all right. So I loved my time there, and then went back to Liverpool in the summer. And Liverpool had given me the option and said, well, if you want to go and play, we'll let you walk on a free, you can do what you want. If not, we'll sort you out so you can have another year. So I had a little look around and nothing popped up, and I was ready to leave, but nothing popped up. So signed my new deal, and then literally about 3 days after signing my new deal, I got a phone call from an agent who was the Barrow manager's agent and said, would you be interested in coming to Barrow? I was like, well, they're not going to let me on loan because I've been on loan last year. There's no chance he will again. So made the call, and Liverpool said no, but we'll let him walk. So the option was stay at Liverpool as a training keeper or sign for Barrow as the number one and leave Liverpool. So
was that a big decision then, or was it? Or
yeah, I wasn't sure at the time. Just I'd love being at Chester, but I always had that security of I'm at Chester on loan from Liverpool, which sounds a lot better than I'm at Chester. And I know it's a bit of a status thing, but it's not a status thing as in I want to say I play for Liverpool. It's more of a
for your CV, isn't
yeah.
it?
If you're looking at a kid who's 21 playing in the conference on loan from Liverpool, you'll think, all right then, okay, and maybe not so much if he was just a normal Chester player.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Which is, but I just thought it was the right time. Most of my mates had left. I didn't think my CV was going to look any better staying at Liverpool doing nothing for a year. So I thought, fuck it, go and back yourself and see what happens. So signed for Barrow, and then
some balls to do that, mate. Because again, just that being in your little bubble and your security of boyhood club, you know everyone there. They back you. They obviously think a lot of you. And then that big jump to Barrow. Yeah,
that was that's the hardest thing I've done. Because obviously going into Chester was alright because I was on loan. I need to train there once a week and play on a Saturday. So I was still at Liverpool, but Barrow was the no training at Liverpool. Just you're a Barrow player now. Go and be a Barrow player. So that's what I did. Went there and started well. Was in team of the week like 4 times in the first 2 months. I was flying. Fucking loved it. Just playing. Team were doing. It was a good team to play for because we were always boss to watch. We'll either concede 5 or score 5. We're always first on match of the day, but it was just a bit up and down. And then we hit a bad patch in. When was it? Probably end of October, and we lost like 6 on the spin. And personally, I hadn't done anything wrong. Like I know we've been getting beat, but I'm the first to shoot myself in the foot when I've been shit, and I'll happily hold my hand up and say I didn't think I'd done anything wrong. And then we were doing shape on a Thursday before an away game on a Saturday, and it's always the starters will go one end and do shape, bomb squad go the other end and do shooting. So he calls the lads like, oh, these lot coming this end with me, and he's named the other keeper, and I went, fuck. And then that was it. So that was the end of October. And I played 1 game from the end of October to December before I left in the FA trophy, like the fake FA Cup for the non-league.
That's how like cutthroat it can be, can't it?
Yeah.
Like, that's like.
And to be fair,
did you get an explanation? Did you or no?
Not really. So he didn't tell me he was going to drop me, which I was pissed off about. So I gave him a call that afternoon, and he just said, look, team's struggling. I need to make changes. You're not the only one that I've changed. They changed shape. Things like that, because he was trying to play nice footy and stuff, and it was working sometimes but killing us sometimes. So we just went back to the old school, 5 at the back, 2 big lads up front, changed it around. And Joel is a more old school keeper. He's got a fucking launch on him, so it did help the way the team would go into play. So I was fuming, gutted, pissed off, but just had to get on with it and see what happens. And then he said at the start, he was like, give it a couple of weeks and we might be able to get you back in once the results turn and things like that, and just never ended up happening. So it was a tough one to take, like. But
at any point then did you start thinking, I wish I'd stayed at Liverpool?
Yeah,
or
definitely. That was just the. But then, if I'd have stayed at Liverpool, would I have got the Rangers move? I'm not sure. I think the extra 25 games I got at Barrow definitely helped me as a player, helped me as a person. A bit more experience, not loads, but it's a bit more experience. But
what's it like when you said that they were great to watch? You either won 5-0 or conceded 5-0. What's it like going back into that changing room then when you've lost like 5-0?
Hard.
Is it?
Tough, especially with a load of fellas, like just proper, especially in the lower leagues, are just old
That's
school.
because you're still a young lad as well.
Yeah.
Proper old school. And the gaffers Ian Everett used to play for Chesterfield. He was at Blackpool when Blackpool were in the Prem, so he obviously had a top career himself, and he's a proper hothead. And he won't mind me saying this, but he's a proper hothead, and it didn't take a lot for him to blow up, and that's old school. That's what most lads are like as well, and it's just that's the way it is, and especially in the lower levels, it's still quite which I don't mind. I think it's brilliant. The old school, I probably prefer the old school to the new school, the way of managers handle things and stuff like that, and I've got no problems with it at all.
And so do they analyse the game straight after, or then are you then pulled in after? Right, let's talk about why we lost 5-0 properly
That'd be a Monday morning team meeting.
Right.
Yeah. So no matter what it was, to be fair, it was always Monday morning team meeting. Play on a Saturday, off on a Sunday, back in Monday morning
to talk about
and do 10 minutes, 20 minutes, however long was needed to pick the game apart, whether it was good, bad, ugly. It always kept the same structure, that's what I like. As long as there's structure, as long as you don't start changing everything. If something's going well or going badly, he always kept to his guns, which I do like. Got a lot of time for that, because I think if you start chopping and changing every week, if you win one and lose one, then people's heads are just all over the place in the end.
It must be hard, sometimes I don't like going into work on a Monday morning, but thinking like, if you,
nothing worse.
Because you got that weight, haven't you? You got that weight on Sunday.
It was when we were we'd lost like 5 in a row, and we Barrow train in Rochdale, so the worst drive in the morning. So used to meet at the village round the corner for the Scouts car school. It's take us fucking hour and a half to get there, and if you're not in for 9, you get fined. And obviously Monday morning is the team meeting as well, so the other Scouts car school's got like John Rooney and Steve Jennings and stuff, and they were like, we'd cut it fine, getting there and thinking Runes in general were always after us. These two are going to be late here, and there's not work. We've just been battered at the weekend, 5 in a row. Team meetings started, and you're not there. Like, fuck me, I do not want to be them two coming in. But it's just proper old school. But they're old school fellas. They know how to handle themselves. But it was
It's got a grin and bear it.
Yeah.
And you get fined if you're late. So if you're late at all to any training, you get fined. Yeah.
The fines are obviously the fines depend on what level you're at and stuff. But there's the same fine systems in place at every club. It's just the old school way. All goes for Christmas
and
night
it's literally 9 o'clock. It's not like, listen, there was a motorway. Have you seen the motorway? Motorway's fucking closed.
Well, I was late to Barrow once, and I turned up at like 9:30, half an hour late. But we used to meet at the village at like 7:15 in the morning. And when there's no traffic, you can get to Rochdale in 40 minutes. But you literally had to give yourself an hour and 45 just because the 62 is a disgrace.
Yeah.
But there's no excuses taken. And to be fair, I don't mind that, because I was only late once, and there was plenty of times people were late and it paid for the Christmas due, so
yeah, but it does.
There's worse causes it can go to.
Yeah, exactly. Is the fine book massive then? So is there like loads of stuff like
no, there's not loads. It's just, if you asked any footballer, they'd all be the same. So late, leaving kit on the pitch, water bottles on the pitch, phone out in the treatment room, or phone in the canteen, or.
Oh, really? Is that strict? Phone in the canteen?
Yeah.
Right.
Just all stuff like that, and it's all depends what level you're at, but it all just goes to your Christmas due, and there's always one fines man who keeps his book of all the list and who owes what, and you pay every Friday, and if not, it's doubled the week after, and it's just that I love that proper old school.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
We started that my last year at Liverpool. Neil Critchley started that, our gaffer, and we weren't allowed to spend it on alcohol and that, but we spent it on like a foot golf day out and just shit like that at the end of the season to do. But
as you've gone up through your career, has the fines just gone up and up, have they?
Yeah.
Like financially.
Yeah, because I've gone from Witton Albion, which is the 8th tier, to Chester, bottom of the conference, Barrow mid-table conference, to Rangers. Which is you got some decent earners. But to be fair, the big fines are all. It's like if you don't turn up for training, it's manager's discretion. So that's when it comes to like a week's wage, because obviously a week's wage for me and Jermaine Defoe would be
a little bit different.
Slightly different.
So is it not done on a percentage then, is it? No?
Most of them aren't. Most of them are just a fine. Or if you're a kid, you get half price.
Yeah.
So if it's say it's 50 quid for being late for one of the older lads, be 25 for it, but it's half price for a
So
kid.
how did that move come about then? So let's get you up to Rangers. So you're there, you've been dropped from the team at Barrow, you know, thinking what the fuck's going on?
Gerard's assistant Mike Beale was my 16s coach, 19s, 20s, 21s. So I had him for 4 or 5 years as a kid, and he'd made contact with my agent, made contact with Barrow that they were interested in taking me, but nothing had been said to me. So I was fully in the dark, and then got a text off Beale. He direct messaged me on Twitter saying, "This is my new number. It'd be good to have a chat tomorrow if you get a chance."
And did you know he was at Rangers?
Yeah, I knew he was at Rangers. Yeah, I was still in contact with him and stuff. But so I've got the text, and I'm on, as always, on the Xbox with Brew and Wills, and I was like, "Can I Beale? He just text me here saying I need to give him a ring." And them two were like, "Fucking hell, lad, you're going Rangers? You're going to Rangers?" I was like, "Fuck off!" I was just thinking, because I'd been dropped at the time, he must have known someone in the game who wanted to take me somewhere for some sort of reason, whether it's to be a number 2, number 3, go and play at the conference, whatever. Just thought he must know someone who's looking to take me out of there. So dropped Lee Molly off around the corner in Highton, and just rang Bealsy and had the small talk for a couple of minutes, and he just went, "Right, cut the bullshit. We've spoken to Barrow, we've spoken to your agent, and we're looking to bring you up here." I was fuck. I was still still can't believe it happened, but just and he was like, "Oh yeah, well, I don't want an answer today," and all that. "You have to speak to your mum and dad," and I was just like, "You know my answer already, you prick. Why are you trying to pretend you don't?" I was like, "All right, so I'll speak to my mum and dad." And my mum and dad were in Egypt on a cruise, so gave me dad a ring. I texted my dad saying, I need to give you a ring this afternoon. And he was like, "It's going to cost a fortune." I was like, "Oh, don't worry, Dad, I need to give you a ring this afternoon." So I gave him a ring. He was like, "Come on, what have you done wrong? What's happened?" I was like, "Oh, I've got a curveball." I was like, "Oh, what have you done?" I was like, "Oh, I've not done anything, but just had a phone call from Mick Beale. Rangers wanted to take me in January." He went, "Fuck off." I was like, "Be serious, Dad?" Like, "Wants to take me." So he was like, "Well, what are you thinking?" And I was like, "Well, pretty obvious, isn't it?" And he said, "You fucking ring Bealsy back right now because you're going. And I'll come back from Egypt tonight and pack your bags if I have to. You're going." I was like, simple as that. So the thing that held it up a bit was they've got a young lad, Robbie McCrory, who's a year or two younger than me. So he was the third choice, but they were getting rid of him on loan. So they needed someone to come in instead of him. So I got the phone call around Christmas time, and I had to wait until I signed up there on the 26th of Jan or something, 27th of Jan.
Mate, what a Christmas that is.
Well, it was, but it was a month of just like, I was living round the corner in Rainhill, bags are packed, ready to go for a month, just like, because if the gaffer rings me, I'm getting in the car in 5 minutes and going. Yeah. And it just never came. And then because they have a winter break up there, so they had like 10 days off, and then they had a week over in Tenerife. So, and I had like one of my mates' birthdays in January, so we went over to Prague for a couple of days. So I was like in Prague, just like didn't want to drink much because I knew it probably wasn't far away, so I was trying to behave myself as much as possible and shit like that. And then they played on the Wednesday night, and just got a text off an unsaved number on my phone. When you don't have contact saved on WhatsApp, it just comes up with what their name is, and it just SG, and I'm thinking, SG, it must be Shamal George, the other keeper in the Reds. Is thinking, man, that's not right. I've got his number saved, and I clicked on it. The gaffer's picture in the corner, just like, fuck. And that was it then. Just said, I'll pack your bags and all that, your medicals on Thursday morning. Come up, train Friday, and we'll do the press release and all that shit. So, he's like, "Yo, if you need to give me a ring or anything, just give me and we'll have a chat." And I was thinking, "Well, fuck, of course I am." And I was in Jay's with him, and he's a massive Red as well. So, literally like that. So I'm giving him a ring, and I'm like that, and Jay's literally lying on my shoulder, trying to listen to everything. And it was still surreal to this day. Like,
I would screenshot that text and I'd have it above me fireplace.
So yeah, it was just, and then that was it. Passed the medical and all that, and he rang me when I was in the car on the way up there, and he was like, "Right, I've got good news and bad news." I was like, "Oh, no." So I start with the bad news. He was like, "Well, the bad news is you're gonna have to train tomorrow. we've changed your signing time so you can sign and then train with us in the afternoon. I was like, all right, so the good news then. He was like, well, everything's done. Just need a signature on the dotted line, pass your medical, and that's it. It'll be all done in the morning. So.
And how long was the deal for?
18 months. So got till the end of this season coming.
Yeah.
So just have to wait and see what happens.
And then, so
What a turnaround that is, man.
I know, yeah. Can you not tell any? So up until you've had your medical, are you not allowed to tell anyone? Like, obviously apart from like your mum,
I'd
and dad,
literally
and
told my
stuff
mum
like
and dad,
yeah.
and Jay and like the lads from round here could tell them everything, but yeah, you got to kind of keep it as just for
as you
official
can.
reasons and stuff like that. But the Barrow lads all knew at the end, because obviously I didn't turn up to train for 4 days because I was waiting for the deal to go through and stuff like that. So
That guy with the fine books going, there's another 50.
Fines were racking up. So yeah, but you just have to, and you don't want to jinx anything, just because if it fell through or things like that, then you just look like a proper tit. So just obviously my family knew, and a couple of my mates around there knew, but that was it. Just.
And even at the like, are you nervous for the medical or not?
Oh, horrendous.
Really?
Horrendous. That was the worst part. It was with the doc that obviously know now, but never met him before, middle of Manchester. Just, and it takes like 6 hours. It's just awful. Just loads of sitting.
6 hours doing what?
Just everything, full body scans, x-rays, fitness tests, heart tests, blood tests, drugs, just everything. Every test you can physically do on a human, it gets done on you, just to make
Suppose
sure.
if they're going to be, giving you this money and expecting you to do this,
then you need to make sure someone's in full working order. So that was the worst part, just the drug test and the blood test and heart test, just like, imagine something came up, just touch wood, but it could all change in something like that. So that's definitely the worst part.
Did anyone ever been kicked back at a medical then, or obviously I'm sure
loads,
like just like what, like
Liverpool
a heart?
famously, they bought one last season for Keir, didn't they?
No, for Keir, and he failed on his knee or something.
They'd done a video of him signing for the club. It was all done and everything.
In his kit, taking shirt with his name on and all that, and
then it was Remy as well.
Yeah, like Remy
from Chelsea.
With his heart, or
I know it wasn't from Chelsea, but he ended up going to Chelsea, didn't he? From
well,
Newcastle.
like a heart palpitation or something.
I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, it was just something that Liverpool didn't think it was good enough, but another club did.
Weren't happy with.
Right. Oh, so it's just a club thing, as in like obviously there's basic like like drug tests and things.
I
like
guess
that.
the advice on. Well, I'm guessing the advice on medical. Some might say it'd be okay, and depending
on whether you want to take the risk or not.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So you do your medical, and then once you rock up, then what was it like just seeing obviously Stevie, then the old staff, then just made you feel right at home again?
Yeah, so I drove up on a Thursday night and then went to Ibrox early Friday morning, did the paperwork and the interview and all that shit, and then went to the training ground and got introduced to millions of people that didn't have a clue. But as long as I knew Bealsy, Tom Culshaw, Jordan, the gaffer, Flano, Raz, Jordan Rossiter, it was just home away from home. It was so much easier walking into the Rangers dressing room than the Barrow dressing room, because I literally knew no one. I was the kid coming from Liverpool, and you'll all have your stereotypes of I'm a big time prick and all that, but it was a lot harder to go in there than it was going in as just a no one. Going in as a no one, nothing to prove, no one knows who I am, bar a couple of Scousers, but it was just so much easier for me doing that than it was going to Barrow. Which sounds ridiculous on paper.
Yeah, because mate, Rangers is fucking massive.
Huge. And you don't realise how, like, I hate Man United. I can't stand them. I'd never sign for them in a million years, but like the hatred between Rangers and Celtic is
it that bad?
Oh, it's just like, you can't, the way I see it is they're in the same city. One's Catholic, one's Protestant. The two best teams. So it's like having Liverpool and United in the same city, the two biggest clubs, the two most successful clubs, and one's heavily Catholic, one's heavily Protestant, and it's all based on
throwing a bit of religion, and then just makes it even worse.
It is carnage. The hatred is ridiculous. But
and when you sign for a club with the stature of Rangers, is it something that just hits you immediately? Like, wow, this is big.
Yeah, just sign at Ibrox in. Because it's like a history listed building, so like there's not a lot of work you're actually allowed to actually do to it and change it, because it's national list or whatever it is. But just like going into the trophy room, and like it's still got the original marble staircase and like the massive honours board, like the Hall of Fame they've got there, and it's just like, you just feel like you're in a proper a proper place here. That was the first.
You put a good photo up on Instagram actually of your team photo, and I think you put Instagram versus reality.
That was funny.
All around each other. I'd love to know what was actually going on there, but it was just usual lads being idiots probably. But yeah, it was. We were all killing the cameraman because it took far too long and there was far too many shots, and he had to keep changing the advertising boards for all the different sponsors and that, and it was just too much time to just not wind each other up. So,
do you get once you obviously there's photographers at training, isn't there? Are they like club photographers that do they send you the photo? Because I think we asked Kevin. I'm like on a bit of a mission because some players suddenly they've got these like super professional photos on there. Do they send you those photos, or do they like?
So we've got a WhatsApp group, so like the players' WhatsApp group, and a link gets put in. So our photographer's Kirk, and he does every training or all the training sessions and all the games and stuff, and any events you go to. So he's always the man there, and he picks whatever pictures he wants, puts them on I can't remember what it's called. Is it My Drop or something like that? And he just shares
Dropbox.
Dropbox, that's the one.
Yeah, Dropbox.
And then you just get the link to that, and then
you see
go on the
there.
Dropbox. It's just
have a look at photos of you and think
that's
for the ground.
It's just like games, training, travelling.
Every time Tom sees like Liverpool and like Milner's or Henderson's just putting up after the game, he's going, "How the fuck are they getting them that quick? I don't understand it." Well, now you know, Tom.
But you know what it is? It's more stuff like because you're watching the game at home and watching Liverpool, and a good picture comes up on Twitter of Jordan Henderson. So many people will just be like, "Oh, Jordan Henderson looks boss here," and tags him in it. And the amount of mentions and stuff like that you get, like, you probably don't even have to scour for them. They just they'll all just be on your timeline and stuff like that. But I'm sure the top fellas will have people looking after their accounts for them. I know Jermaine Defoe, people look after his account for him, and there's not a lot he does himself. But
going on there, mate. He's one player I always wish Liverpool would have signed. What's it like going from, again, no disrespect to Barrow and that, but going and seeing like just the level like above and beyond? Like, what is it, that kind of thing again where you're like
as in like you're scared, you think you don't believe in yourself, like you can't.
It's just intimidating, just like
that's the right word I'm looking for.
Especially like, and it did definitely make a difference for me because at Barrow I had no goalie coach, so it was like I was coaching myself, and the other goalie was helping out, and then the analysis fellow would help out with a bit of serving and that, but it was just like it wasn't actual coaching. And then when you're not playing as well as not training properly, like you can feel yourself
going backwards.
Not improving or just staying where you are, or like you're saying, going backwards. So to then go back to go from the conference to Rangers, where you've got Jermaine Defoe swatting balls at you all day, it's a big difference. Like, but yeah, it's just that's the job. It was hard to get up to speed again, but that's what I had to do, and just try and get back to the level I was at when I was at my best. And but yeah, it was a big step, bit of a difference.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Mate, and for you personally as well, maybe without to sound defeatist, mate, because I don't think I could smell your attitude just shining now, just speaking to you. But so, what's the kind of plan when you're going there? On one hand, you like it's Rangers, Gerrard and all the staff want me there and that, but I'm going to be third choice keeper. So is it kind of like, I might get a game now and again, or is it just I want to try and just improve as much as I can, or is it you're looking at it as almost a stepping stone? I mean, how would you even? I'm guessing there's like loads of different ways to look at it.
Millions.
What was your kind of what was your kind of overall thought of when you were going there?
But just everyone I spoke to has a different opinion. So, like my dad just said, pack your bags, go. My best mate Jay, who I live with, was like, not sure if the keeper has a bad couple of games at Barrow, you're back in and you're playing and you're number one again, and so it was just everything in between that. So it was just, at the end of the day, if I left Rangers when my contract finishes in next June, then I'm a 23-year-old keeper who's played 50 odd conference games, and I've got Liverpool and Rangers on my CV. That's not the worst place in the world to be. Got the backing of a manager who's fairly well known and things like that. So I just thought it was the right thing to do. So I know I'm third choice, and we're learning from 2 top keepers up there, Alan McGregor, who's been there and done a lot at 37, and Wes, who's done quite a bit down here and been Rangers #1 for a few years as well. So good coaches, great people to work with, 2 top keepers to learn from, and I think that's probably where that was the easiest decision. Just you're getting top quality coaching.
You're gonna be improving, aren't you? You're gonna be improving.
Yeah, I feel a lot better than I did this time last year, just from the amount of training, and it's easy for me because I know I'm not playing. There's not a lot of planning goes into gym sessions. I know I can do what I want when I want, because usually you have to give yourself 2 or 3 days before a game. You won't do any gym because your muscles will be sore when you're playing, and for me, I know I'm not playing, so it's a lot easier to. So I do get battered in the gym by the lads, but it's obviously going to help me in the long term grow up and become a bit more of a man. So I know that's it's definitely going to help.
Mate, your attitude, mate, I feel fucking better just fucking speaking to you, mate. I just think the decisions you've had to make, mate, as a young man as well.
Yeah.
And where you are today, mate, it's great to see your attitude and how humble you are about it as well.
I still feel like a kid, but I know
I'm 31, I still feel like a kid, man.
I'm switched on enough up there, so it stands me in okay stead, and then still plenty of time to be an ass.
Man, you could end up winning the league, mate.
Fuck me.
Top of the league.
I know that was if Carlsberg did weekends, Liverpool and Rangers win, Celtic, Everton, United and City all lose. Fuck me. And then you had 5 days off after it. It was brilliant. That's all you need.
Everton ended up in the relegation zone, 8 points clear of City, and then I looked and fucking Stevie was top.
I know, I sent that picture, the picture you put on Twitter, the gaffer with his pints, put it straight in my group chat. I was like, that's just summed it up perfectly, that.
Yeah.
Fucking perfect. Yeah,
what's it like with the Liverpool lads up there then? Because there's quite a few with Liverpool connections.
Yeah, but to be fair, every dressing room in the world is cliquey, so I'm not making out that we're dead cliquey up there, but it's just a natural thing that you'll just attach to people that you're most similar with. So like me, Flano, Scotty Arfield and Alan McGregor, Andy Halliday. So me and Raz aren't in the same mates group ish. Me and Shay aren't in the same mates group in the changes. But they're the 2 I knew. So at the start, I was always dead close to Raz because he was the main one I knew. And then as you get settled in, you just make your own mates, decide who you like, who you don't. And
I think fans, I think it's this thing with football now, and it's getting more and more because of social media and programs
definitely.
And everyone's just so wants to know, don't they? And I think, but for what I'm guessing as an outsider, when you tell me, but I'm guessing it's probably like most officers. There's going to be people that you like. There's going to be people that you don't like. In the Marines, mate, I always remember this lad, and I won't say his name. I think I probably said it before, but I wasn't even there again. It's a story I heard, but it just sums up what life is like. And everyone thinks you're in the Marines or you've been injured, you're this hero or something. And this lad that got blown up, lost both his legs, and was being a tit. And someone just said, listen, you were a fucking tit before you got blown up. You're still a tit now with no legs. And it's kind of like people think that, you footballers, that all must be. I'm guessing it's just like a normal office, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And it's you'll have managers you hate, you'll have managers you love, and you'll have teammates you hate, teammates you love, and it's just every normal.
Yeah, and there's gonna be groups that you speak to and groups that you don't. And same with me, there was a group of us that cars shared together with the Haydock petrol station. That was where all the Scousers and Manx all got dropped off when we went up to Scotland. There's always that car sharing all going on. So sometimes when fans think, you're so dying to know who speaks to who, and it's just fucking same as your office.
And it was the same at Liverpool. So when there was the Brazilian, so there was Moreno, there was Coutinho, Firmino. They all speak predominantly Spanish and Portuguese. So it just makes sense.
Doesn't take a rocket science to work out that.
Doesn't take, and then you've got a load of Southerners. So when Raheem was here and Daniel Sturridge, and they've all come from London and down south, and they're gonna click together. And then Milner, Henderson, Lallana are all similar fellas. It doesn't take. If you just sat on an outside of a changing room and you had to just put people in 3 or 4 clicks, you you could get
Quite easily do
99%
it,
right
yeah.
on any club in the world. It's just dead easy.
Do you ever think? Do you think sometimes like this is because obviously, hence why some of the questions I was asking, because it's fascinating. Because obviously, it's a world we don't usually get to look into, well, more now. But do you ever think that, like, does it ever become normal? Like, it's just, I suppose it does, doesn't it? Because like you just wake up, it's like normal. You just go to train. Like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? Whereas where I'm like smiling, asking you. Like, it's just because I'm not used to, you know, so what do you do at training? What do you know, is it just normal?
It's just, it's the best job in the world, but it's a job. There's
Yeah,
some
yeah.
days I'll still wake up and, like, even when I was playing at Barrow and things haven't gone well the day before, and you're like, oh, now you got a fucking hour and a half drive to Rochdale on a Monday morning to go and get grilled in a team meeting and everything's doom and gloom. It's like, you do get down, but it's the same as every job. But then I went to watch Barrow last night and they've just won 7 games on the spin, and it's just, the football can, this time last year we'd lost 7 on the spin, and that's how quickly things can change in football. And it's just riding the highs and riding the lows and trying to stay as balanced as you can. But it is just it's not a normal job.
Yeah.
It still feels like a normal job.
Yeah.
I think that, mate, you've said that kind of a couple of times and alluded to it even when you haven't, and it's like that. I've personally experienced it in my life, and I've even heard Klopp mention it about football, and it's like, you know, never get too excited when things are going too good, and never feel too shit when things are going. I think even Harry Finley said it when he's a professional gambler, and he said, you know, when he was won big, he was like, he'd never get too big for his boots, and when he fucking couldn't pick a winner, he'd never think, oh, I'm shit me. It's like, you know your value, you know your worth. Never ever get too big, and never ever.
So hard to let you eat. Sometimes to tame that ego, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but also on the other side though as well, like you beat yourself up too much.
Yeah.
It's like Liverpool now. They won't be going out getting pissed all week because they've got an international break, because Sound have won 8 games on the spin, which is fucking brilliant as a fan to watch. But still, 28 games to go against a good City team. You know that you got to try and keep that level as long as you can, and there will be shit bits in the season where things don't quite go to plan, but it's just how you're reacting.
It's fascinating that, you know, not like learning when to celebrate and when not. You know, in terms of like a player,
because that's huge.
You know, because I've had at work, we've, you know, had weeks where I've got cracking deals in for work, and then I've thought on Friday, let's have you. Here we go, big style. But then, like, to keep that discipline and not.
How does that work then? Because I think I've got maybe 2 views on this, and maybe you can tell me what one's the right one to have, or at least the one that you think works best. But totally agree. Yeah, you know, you celebrate when you win something. I get that. But if you're going to look at, just for argument's sake, the Premier League, essentially, then only one team can be happy. Only 11 or a squad of 30 players can be happy. What does that mean? The other 19 teams, or even the other 90 odd teams in the Football League aren't allowed to be happy because there's only one number 1 in England. Sure, no, there's not. Other people can be happy.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Do you know what I mean? And other people can enjoy that ride along the way. And if there's going to be this thing, you can't be happy unless you're at the top, then do you know what I mean? There's got to be, I think, a point where you're like, lads, fucking, we're flying. This is good.
Yeah, like, I don't know. There'll be a couple. Obviously, there's a few teams that are down there already, but for smaller clubs staying in the Prem, that's for them. That is them winning the Prem. They've hit the jackpot. They've gone up. And can you stay in there? Can you be a team who actually stays in there? Don't go up and come straight back down, because there's nothing worse. But if you go up and stay up, fucking hell. If I was finished 17th in the Prem and stayed up by a point on the last day of the season, I'd be enjoying myself somewhere. And it's the same for any league. If you make the playoffs, that was our target at Barrow, to make the playoffs, and they just missed out. But it wasn't a failure of a season. But that's where you're kind of in the middle. You were probably a bit better than expected, but not quite as good as you'd hoped. But I guess
where that man management comes back into play then, doesn't
it?
Mm.
Yeah. And I think it helps with the gaffer knowing, obviously being in the dressing room at Liverpool, and he'd been through Champions League winner, FA Cup winner, to the years like 2010, 2011, 2012, where Liverpool were a tough team to watch. And it's just, he came through as a player, and it's just same again, riding the highs and riding the lows, and trying to stay in the middle as much as you can, because it can all change like that. As Klopp's proven.
Yeah, mate, I can't believe it. In 4 years, he's got a 6th place team to then 3 European Cup finals, 2 Champions League, 98 points or 97 points was it? And again now still like in 4 years, it's no time.
Did you see the Danny Mills one on Sport when he went fishing? Oh my goodness, my head fell off.
Yeah.
My head fell off.
Klopp had done something, hadn't he? Something came up about Klopp where he'd said years ago, he said, I used to listen to Talk Sport to get better English, but they talk utter bullshit.
Yeah. Oh, dearie me.
Yeah, Danny Mills saying that is 4 years is really one trophy enough.
He spent 400 million quid and won 1 trophy. Is that enough? And it's like, well, net spend, what's he actually
He sold 320 million pounds worth of players.
Spent 80 million quid. Didn't win the league last year, but fuck me, what a ride. Yeah. Champions League winner.
That's what I think about when I said before about when to celebrate or not, because it's like, if we hadn't won it in Madrid, obviously I would have been fucking... I don't even want to think about what I would have been like.
Right.
But I fucking went to Paris, went at PSG. Like, what memories I've got from a couple of days in Paris with the lads. I was in Barcelona for like a few days with the lads. All amazing experience. Even when we got beat 3-0, like, it was fucking an amazing trip.
What I've got for you on that. So you did a podcast the week after the Barca game, and you were like at the start of your episode, you sometimes say like someone came up to me and mentioned the podcast. You were like, oh, I was out having a few beverages in Barcelona, and some fella came over and started chewing me up about the podcast. It was his fucking mate. He listened to the podcast and he was like, I think Andy Grant just mentioned me on the podcast. I was like, what do you mean? He was like, we were in Barca in a bar all absolutely twatted, and I kept chewing his ear off about it, and he just mentioned it then. I was like, oh, fucking hell. Embarrassing.
That's quality, it's so cool, man, because I say to Tom at the match, like, say, go every home game and try and get to a few ways, and it's nice that there's a lot of lads now who listen to it and saying, I'll keep the podcast going, and that's why I appreciate you coming on, mate, because people want to hear these, like, especially people with a affiliation with Liverpool as a city, but at the team as well. So, I love it when people are coming over and saying, listen to the pod, it was great and all that.
So,
yeah, it's funny, man. Listen, Andy, lads, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate. I really appreciate you coming on, mate, and being so open and honest. And I always think to myself normally what I'm going to take from it, mate. I knew you were a nice lad anyway, but mate, honestly, I can see why you've got a career in the game now, and hopefully you keep on going, mate, because so humble. Really hard working attitude, resilient, and thoroughly just nice fella, mate. So thanks very much.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you, mate. Really, honestly, I think just one final. I think I imagine it can be quite hard doing these sort of things, because obviously you got to watch what you say, I suppose. But yeah, I was just going to say thank you, because you've been really honest and sort of says it how it is, and rightly so in some cases. So thank you, really, and thanks for 2 hours again.
No worries. Pleasure. Listen to it back on the way back to Glasgow.
Thank you, mate.
So